Hello and welcome to the Izzyverse. I'm Izzy. Let's talk a little bit about Batgirl. This report just came in Deadline back on August 2nd, stating that Batgirl and Scooby discarded. David Zaslav objected rejection of Jason Kilar's HBO Max strategy. Well, a lot of people have been talking about Batgirl these days, and more importantly, why was it canceled? And now we're hearing people saying, release the Batgirl movie. Here's what I gotta say to you guys. Don't. Because for all that we've seen and all the movies that we've had in the last 20 some odd years, we've had some good movies and we had some bad movies. Now, we could all say that Dark Knight is one of the greatest movies of all time. But we can also say that Catwoman is one of the worst movies that we've ever seen. And from the reports that I'm seeing and I'm hearing, it appears that Batgirl was more on the lines of where Catwoman was. It was a movie that was made for a budget of $70 million, and it was targeted to be an HBO Max movie, which in turn became a theatrical movie. But as people started seeing screeners for this movie, what we're hearing is that it wasn't good. Do you honestly want to have a bad movie out? Do you want to see a bad movie? Do you want a movie so badly that you're willing to deal with the fact that it's not a good movie in the first place? And it appears that that's what Batgirl was going to be. It was going to be a bad movie. So therefore, as the title goes, good riddance. Now, I'm on the fence with the character Barbara Gordon. I think she's a great character. She's very complex. She's been through so much. But at the same time, Batgirl is still a supporting character to Batman. In order to introduce us to a Batgirl movie, I honestly believe we need to be introduced to Batgirl within Batman. Same to be said for Nightwing. We need to see Dick Grayson first with Batman, then have him leave and become Nightwing. And the same could be said for Batgirl. Barbara Gordon has gone through so much in the comic book. She's gone through points, highs and lows. And, to the point that even Alan Moore made the decision to paralyze her just so he could write a Joker story. And that had a lasting effect. It had a very long-lasting effect. And Batgirl would soon become Oracle thereafter. We're not getting an Oracle movie. We're not getting a Killing Joke movie. The movie was supposed to be Batgirl. And she was supposed to be mentored by Michael Keaton's Batman. I'm sorry, I see a disconnect there. I see something that needs more time to marinate. And we just weren't given that time. So, with that being said, I'm happy Batgirl was canceled. I'm happy that they made the decision not to move forward with this movie. Yes, it was a tax write-off, and you should be worried about other movies. I immediately started thinking about the Blue Beetle movie that's scheduled to come out. Is the Blue Beetle movie the next movie to be canceled? Only time will tell. Do I want the Blue Beetle movie to be canceled? Absolutely not. I think the Blue Beetle movie has more of an importance than a Batgirl movie does. And I believe Blue Beetle has the ability to become the next Black Panther movie if done properly. And why am I saying that? Because Blue Beetle is a Hispanic character. He comes from a Spanish background. Batgirl was supposed to be a Spanish character from the looks of this story that we were going for. And yes, that would have been great, and it's great to see a strong female role. And no one's talking about the actress involved. Nobody's saying anything bad about the actress. In fact, they praise the actress for her work. Leslie Grace, as it says here, Leslie Grace is an incredible talented actor, and this decision was not reflected on her performance. So it wasn't about her. It was about the story. It was about what this story was going to become. So I am happy again, I tell you that. We do have other movies that are coming up. Black Adam, for once. And with Black Adam, what do we have? We have The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, in a movie that's dealing with a supporting character to Shazam. But Black Panther, on the other hand, has more depth into it. And it does make sense to see a Black Adam origin. We have Shazam, Fury of the Gods, a sequel. We have Aquaman 2. And yes, even Flash is supposed to come out. Now, what's the difference between Flash and Batgirl? Here's the difference. Money. The cost of Flash is double the amount of Batgirl. Now, $70 million is nothing to laugh about. It's nothing to say, oh yeah, we could toss that out. I wish I had eaten $1 million, but I don't. But these executives have to treat their money wisely. And if they're seeing a movie that just, quite frankly, looks like it's going to be a hot mess, then stop it while you can before you spend even more money. In the case of Flash, we have a movie that, from what I'm hearing, is a very good movie. But the problem isn't the movie. The problem is the actor portraying the role of Flash and what he's going through. Ezra Miller, as we could say, is just all over the place in the news, but not for good reasons. So the difference between Batgirl and Flash is really the story. It's really what's going on with the movie rather than the actors that are being portrayed in the movie. And it's easier to cut the tide with Batgirl than to deal with a movie that has much hype anticipation. A movie for what we know is already done in The Flash. So what do you do if you're WB? What do you do if you're Warner Media? What do you do if you're DC Comics? Do you want to put out another Catwoman? Or do you want to get the next Dark Knight movie? I think DC has to really think about that. And the executives of Warner Media have to look at what has worked. And they also have to take a look at what hasn't worked. You know what hasn't worked? Zack Snyder's Justice League. To the point that so many people rallied for this movie to return. Release the Snyder Cut. Release the Snyder Cut. And we did get the Snyder Cut. And it was a good movie. However, being a comic book reader and reading DC Comics as long as I've been reading DC Comics, that's not my DC universe, and I'm okay with that. I've come to the agreement that I'm fine with that. But these characters are not the same characters I read in the comics. You could disagree with me and say, oh yes, they are, but they really are not. But again, I'm okay with that. I can live with that. What I cannot live with is a movie that is bad, is a movie that is just not going to be good. And that's what I was hearing with Batgirl. Did anybody go see Morbius? Do you have concerns with Kraven the Hunter? I know I do. These characters are not the essence of what the comic book character is. And these movies are supposed to reflect what was in the comics. Take the best parts of the comics and put it into the movie. That's what the Marvel Cinematic Universe did. That's what Kevin Feige did. He gave us the best elements of what's in the comic books and translated it to the movies. Not one for one. It's not an adaptation of a story in the comic books, but it's taking the elements from those stories and putting it into film. DC, however, hasn't done that. DC movies have not done that in a long time. To the point that we end up getting movies that are just shells of what the characters really are. I don't want to see bad movies anymore. I think the days of bad movies should be behind us. We have good writers, we have good directors, we have good actors who are all willing to put out a really good movie. And if we're getting movies that, quite frankly, gives us back to the age of the 90s where we get Batman and Robin or Judge Dredd or Tank Girl, Do we really want to go back there? Do we really want to have movies like that again? I don't. I never liked them. The fact that Judge Dredd took his helmet off was a bad idea. I don't think Batgirl deserves that. I don't think the character of Batgirl deserves that. I don't believe the Bat fans deserve that. I was not a big fan of Birds of Prey either, because it was a Harley Quinn movie. It wasn't a Birds of Prey movie. Go read the comic. Go find out for yourself. If you really want to know more about these characters, if you really want to know what they're like, pick up a comic book. Go to Comixology. Read DC Infinity. That's where you're going to get these characters and why we love these characters so much. I hope this has helped you in why I made the decision of saying that Batgirl is a bad movie from what I hear. I look forward to the future of DC Comics because I want to see DC excel. I am a comic book fan first. I am not an MCU fan. I am not a DCEU fan. I am a comic book fan who enjoys all comic books. I look forward to seeing more good comic book movies. I look forward to seeing more comic book films and shows. But I want to see good ones, because if I see good ones, that means I'm going to see more good ones. And I'm going to get to see those stories that I read as a kid be turned to live action. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for DCEU, or whatever you want to call it today. I hope this helps you in some way or another. Just feel reassurance that this Batgirl movie is not coming out. If you like what you hear, you could go and rate this review and review this podcast. You could also watch me on the Izzyverse on YouTube. There you could watch what you hear. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to support the channel in any way you can, either financially or by giving a thumbs up, leaving a nice comment. Until next time, guys. Bye.